Imagine being so scared that you can't look into the eyes of the girl. That used to be the case for me just 2.5 years ago. I moved here to a new city, new place for me to begin my university studies. And so for the first week, kind of like an introductory week, we got divided into groups. So just people who didn't know each other before, and we got together in these groups to do different challenges and get to know each other. One of the first things we did, obviously, was to walk around and introduce ourselves, as is proper to do. And I had no problem doing that with the guys. But I could barely hold eye contact. I could barely even go for the eyes, if you will, when it came to the girls. So I kind of just shook their hand and then exchanged names quickly, but without really looking at them and seeing who this person is. And that was a massive problem, because it turns out amongst the girls I had in my group, most of them were blonde haired. And so I realized quite quickly that, hey, I don't remember who I introduced myself to and who I haven't said hello to. And they're all blonde, so who am I to tell? Had I looked them into the eyes and seen their face, it would have been different. But now I was so scared of going around and continuing to introduce myself, because I couldn't know, had I already introduced myself to this girl, was this the one I just exchanged names with? So I ended up knowing that I hadn't spoken to every single one of them. I knew that, okay, some of these girls I have not said hello to. Yet I was so afraid of going back to the same people and once again introduce myself as if I hadn't seen them before, because it didn't register in my brain what they looked like. So it was a very awkward situation where I had to then spend the rest of the week with people that I hadn't introduced myself to, and I didn't know which one of them. And so obviously that's not the first impression you want when you want to get to know people. And so that teaches me that eye contact, it's crucial. It's so important. And if you look into any video online on this topic, how to be more confident, or how to appear more attractive to women, then eye contact is going to place itself atop that list. It's going to be a crucial thing that most people are going to mention in content like this. And I remember watching a video a few years ago of First Man, I think it was, and he talked about how he essentially took this challenge that you do back in middle school, I think, this like staring contest. So the one who's first to break eye contact loses, and how First Man then took that challenge and applied it into his life. So you might be walking on the streets, or you might sit in a room somewhere in a meeting, and you happen to connect eye contact with somebody. Then your job is to not lose that eye contact, to not be the first one who breaks it. So if your eyes connect to the eyes of a girl, you're not going to break it off. You're going to continue to hold eye contact till she breaks off, which is usually pretty soon. And in case it goes on for too long, well, that could mean a variety of things. Obviously, play it a little safe with this. You don't do anything stupid. Be the guy who, in like a psychopathic way, looks into people's eyes. Obviously not. But I think it's a fun challenge we can implement if we have these struggles. That I'm not gonna break that eye contact. I'm gonna hold eye contact. You're the one who's gonna lose. I won't lose this challenge. I'm a winner in every single area of life, including this silly contest. So you kind of challenge people to this staring contest. And so you kind of gamify it, so you make it a lot easier for you to practice this thing. Like, practice is fun when it's like a game. That's why you can practice for hours in the video game. It might not be the most fun all the time, but just because it's this like game, you want to continue to improve. You want to get in there and practice. And the reason then why I had such a hard problem looking into the eyes of girls, simply because I hadn't gotten much attention from women throughout middle school, high school. So it was very strange and unusual interaction. I didn't know what to do. So I kind of panicked often. And that's why I had such a problem looking them into the eyes, because I hadn't gotten that practice. Ideally, you're going to have that practice and gradually increase the practice you get with girls in school. It's like school in general is like a training ground for life. And you kind of need to have certain milestones met. You need to get certain milestones in school. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult once you get into real life. Making friends is another one in another milestone in school. But you gotta learn how to do that, because once you're out in the real world, it's gonna be a lot harder to do. But social milestones, that's a different topic. And I have to add too that I've come across that a lot of people struggle with eye contact with women because the way they look at women most of the time. So in my example, remember, like for me, I struggled because I hadn't gotten much attention, I hadn't gotten much practice in real life. A lot of people struggle with eye contact for a different reason. And that's because the interactions they get with women happens online and on websites you really shouldn't be on. It's like all kinds of porn is just horrible for this reason. Yeah, like add it to the list of reasons why you shouldn't be onto that kind of stuff. And also like softcore stuff such as Instagram and TikTok, it changes your perception of women. It makes it more difficult to look them into the eyes. That's something that needs to be cut out. So if the solution then is to gamify it of sorts by challenging all women to this staring contest, then that can help a lot. And also think just being aware of this fact that you need to improve. It makes it so that you can keep that eye contact for just a few milliseconds longer, then eventually a few seconds longer, and eventually you can hold eye contact with no problem. That's how I overcame this. I had to force myself to kind of to just stick to the eye contact, force myself to not break off. It was uncomfortable, but uncomfortability brings growth and change. Because that experience I had 2.5 years ago was so painful that I simply had to change. And that's the case many times. We experience stuff that just gives us no choice but to adapt, to change our behavior so that we won't get put into that situation again. So we can either challenge ourselves now to a staring contest, or how about we get out and get some real life practice. And I broke off there, by the way. Congratulations, you won. And good luck. This is something we need to practice on a lot, but the rewards are great because few people can do this. Few people can hold eye contact for longer than a few seconds. So it's easy. It's quite easy to get good at it and fast. And then what you can do with that when you are able to hold eye contact for longer, that's up to you to decide. But it can bring a lot of good stuff for you. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.